podcast is with the legend that is Jess Ratty, and today's F word is force and female empowerment, and this lady is a force. I'm very lucky that a lot of people that are coming onto this podcast are friends. Most of them started as clients and then became friends. So this has been pretty easy chat, and I know this one is going to be no different. So thank you, Jess.
Thank you, Laura. It's just so hard to be serious, which, you know, is a good part of our working relationship, is that it is fun. But I will try and be serious too.
That's all right. That's okay. We're here for the laughs as well. So can you tell us a little bit about Halo and share your background and what led you into founding the company?
Okay, right. So Halo is a PR and comms agency. I'm having a bit of a brand crisis in my head at the moment, which is hilarious for a marketing company or comms company. But we are Halo PR and Communications technically. We started when I got fed up with working for other people, mostly men. Men I love dearly, by the way, so there's no criticism there. But I genuinely felt like I had ideas and I thought, and everyone go, oh, yeah, cool idea, and then move on to whatever their idea was, or you know, collectively was happening in a business. So I was just like, do you know what? I could probably go out and do a few bits. And then I got called a promo girl by someone, and it made me cry. And that's really like quite a dramatic, I'm not a very dramatic person in that way. So, and I remember thinking, my partner Ben was just like, oh, you know, you can do this. You can go out on your own. People like you, you know. He made it so that we could put everything at risk and I could go out on my own. And he made that okay. So
that's fantastic.
Halo's the reason, Ben is the reason Halo exists, to be fair.
Oh, that's such a sweet story.
Yeah.
So what was your initial vision? What did you, when you started out, what were you trying to achieve? What did you want from your business?
Good PR, good comms, but it's not, you know, it's really funny when people say, oh, what do you do? And actually it's a bit like Chandler and Friends, because nobody understands when I say what we do. How do you explain it? The best, most maverick ideas that can raise the profile of a company, and it can be PR, it can be thought leadership, it can be case studies, it can be great socials, it can be a brilliant strategy or a business strategy that your comms follows. That's what I want to do. I want to take people and their brands and throw them out to the world, or in our case, also off planet, because we work in space a lot of space tech, because it's a niche, right? And there's loads of money to be made working with brilliant people, and you've got to find where the niches are with the money that's going to drive your business and your ideas even further. So yeah, that's kind of the vision, and the vision changes daily.
Yeah,
I'm not going to lie. Like, I was thinking about the questions you were going to ask me yesterday. And about, a lot of people ask me about ambition because I'm relentlessly ambitious and that's never left me. But I was like, oh, what is my ambition now then? And I realized that my ambition's like a shapeshifter, because my ambition shapes towards whatever opportunity is the next one on the horizon. And I literally go hell for leather towards whatever that opportunity is. And you know what, Law? Sometimes it just doesn't work. You've been there with me when it hasn't worked. You've been there with me when I've lost money. You've been there with me when I've made money. And you've been there most happily with me when I'm happily, sustainably,
consistent
at a lovely, consistent level. And I think that's what people don't realize about business, is there is no destination. There's no destination for success. Success isn't a place where you get to and go, oh, look at me, I'm now successful.
Yeah.
I mean, I could have been successful last month, but I certainly wasn't the month before.
Yeah.
And I might be next month, but in 6 months' time, oh my God, who knows?
Yeah. Sustaining a level of success or continuing. And you're exactly right in terms of there isn't a destination, because ultimately a destination is you not being the owner of that business anymore. So yeah, it's a journey, and it's that whole journey, isn't it, that you're part of.
It's like, why, Phil? Where are you going to be? Like, you want to sell it at some point? Like, but I can't even imagine you ever not working.
I know, neither can I. I can't even imagine what it might be next. It's
until something on the horizon comes along and you think, oh yeah, I really want to do that.
I want to do that.
Like,
own a cake shop, maybe. There's been a lot of cake talk on this.
Yeah, we want to build the Cornwall's biggest exhibition centre, don't we? And wellbeing spa. I think that was one of our ideas lately. Let's make that happen.
So consistently chasing goals, a big part of your vision. And even before we started recording today, we were talking about successes over the last week and things on the horizon for you. So no slowing down.
No, we're going to, I'm hoping, say it and it'll become true. In October this year, we're going to be announcing our US office. That's inverted commas for anyone listening. Basically, it's easier to work in the US if you have a postbox. And we're teaming up with an incredible company on Broadway, of all places, in New York. And we're going to hopefully be announcing that in a few months. And then we've also just landed our first European clients. So we are now, one of the funniest things, so Georgia is the MD of Halo. She's absolutely brilliant. She's like Maverick. And I love her. She is amazing. I was like, oh, maybe we should be calling ourselves Halo International. And she's like, there's nothing cheesier than having to say that you're international. And she went, what we have to do is be international.
Yeah.
And she's right. And so that's what we do.
She is right. We'll get her in next time.
Yeah,
on a podcast.
You do need to interview her. She needs to practice as well.
So bringing it back into our little area of the world in Cornwall, how have you found running a business and being a business owner in this part of the world?
Well, if I'm going to be really honest, it's been a battle in Cornwall, either because I've got a reputation for being really enthusiastic and little Jess or Jess from the Eden Project, I spent 10 years working there or whatever. And I think I struggle with what is still a male-dominated business environment and these really amazing guys. Like maybe I'm the one struggling with it and it's not them, but I feel like I have so much to prove every time I walk into a room full of these guys. And it's like, but I have nothing to prove because Halo, essentially, the bulk of our turnover comes from out of county and I bring it back and I bring it here into Cornwall and I spend my money on Cornish talent and I look to grow Cornish talent and give Cornish people the opportunities that I had to go outside of Cornwall to get, but I never wanted to leave. And I'm mostly proud, above all, that Halo is a Cornish business, but I never had to go to London for a career.
Yeah.
And I made that decision at 16.
And it's lovely to hear lots of business owners saying that there is so much talent down here and we need to offer them opportunities to stay. We don't want people to be kind of drawn by the big sort of exciting lights of London and other cities. We want to be able to show them that they can have long and successful careers right here in Cornwall.
And it's building businesses that go out and do great stuff, right? Like I can send my team to America. I went to Singapore this year. I've been to France working. And more of that. We're going to Luxembourg in June and I'm taking one of my less regular team with me to go and that'll expand as we grow. I want to do less travel. They all want to do more. Yeah. So, this works really well for me as a growth strategy. But they shouldn't have to leave Cornwall. We live in a purely digital world. I can work from wherever I want in the world. In fact, I was in my car answering emails because I was early for here. I can do that anywhere.
Yeah.
I want to give that same opportunity to local people. I think it's so important. And why should London get our talent?
Yeah,
exactly. We grew it.
We want to keep it.
Yeah.
So how do you manage business whilst you're on the road? You talked about sort of doing emails in cars and things. How do you kind of keep on top of all the demands of being a business owner whilst you're still trying to run a business, service clients, even aside from your personal life?
I just love it. Nothing stops me. But if, it's really, really non-technical. I have a Jess list and everything that I need to do goes on the Jess list. It goes in priority order and I don't stop until it's done. And I work from inbox 0 most of the time. So anything that isn't sorted gets done immediately the next day. And that's what I mean by being relentless. I'm that hungry for it. I just won't stop. And that can be when I'm tired, when I'm sick. Sorry, I know that's not a great culture to promote, by the way. I don't promote it in my team. I make sure that if people are poorly, they stay home. But I'm just like, no, I'm hungry for it.
I think there's nothing wrong if you love it. I don't think there's anything wrong with pushing yourself and putting some pressure on yourself and challenging yourself if you enjoy it. I'm sure if you got to a point where you thought, actually, I really do need to rest, I can't do this anymore, there would be part of you that would allow you. But when you are a business owner, that passion and drive to make it successful and do the right thing and be happy sort of
You're
takes
exactly
over.
The same.
I am.
I know. I'm literally saying stuff that I know this is how you live your life too.
I do. Not inbox 0, my goodness. Inbox about 150, I think, most of the time, which drives me mad. But yeah,
there is a state you can get to get that.
Yeah.
And it's also about letting go. And I've had to do that. And actually, you say about being sick. So I was sick at Christmas, which meant Georgia and the team had to sort of rise up. And I'd had a really bad year last year personally, and they had to rise up and sort of, I felt really protected. And the legacy of that is when I came in here today, I was like, Lord, my life's changed quite a lot as a business person. I'm much more driven by like leading creativity and doing admin stuff for Halo and sort of the bigger contract stuff and going and meeting CEOs and all the things I should be doing as a CEO. That's what CEOs do. But it's very, very odd not to be writing the press releases, building the social media, telling people how to build assets, all the stuff we do. And I'm like, whoa, this is weird.
That's what you spent X amount of years doing
and
training to do. That's what you're qualified to do and experienced to do. So working on the business, and as you said, almost solely on the business rather than in the business, that's a big shift. And I think that's a huge measure of success for a business owner, not to be required in the day-to-day, every day, all day. So I think you should take that as a big one.
How do I do this more?
Yeah.
So how do I get more people in so that I can go and drive more of that core business so that we can help more people and work with more change makers? That's literally what's consuming my brain at the moment, which is such a mad next level place to be at. Never thought I'd be there.
No, that's a whole new growth strategy on the horizon.
Woo.
So what are some of the biggest challenges you've faced throughout?
Well, you know my challenges, but you want everyone else to know.
No, you don't have to. You can only talk about the ones you want to talk about.
Yeah, I don't mind. Money, obviously. I'm really good at what we do. I know that. My team are really good at what we do. What I'm really bad at is money. And to the point where I actually don't understand the jargon, the lingo. I don't want to. Like, passion drives progress. And I have no passion for the money side of things. I can do a spreadsheet. And it's really funny that this podcast is called the F word and we can make what we will of that. My spreadsheet is called the F word awesome spreadsheet.
It is.
And it's still the same spreadsheet I started with, 6 years ago?
Yeah.
And I obviously had a few bumpy rides on my way to the mecca of financial freedom, which is you guys. And the best thing I ever did was come to Wyfield, because that's when Halo's trajectory sort of started going. And you can actually see it in our pie charts and graphs. But I had some really bad accountants. And because I have no passion for accounting, I didn't know they were bad. And that was probably the biggest challenge Halo's faced as a company. That and COVID, 60% of business going in, 2 weeks?
Yeah.
And anger and fear and rage at the fact that I couldn't pay people's mortgages or their wages, which pays their mortgages. And that fear drives me every day. Mm-hmm. Because if there's one thing COVID taught me, and one of the challenges that we faced was it could all go tomorrow.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
Contracts mean bugger all, Laura.
Yeah.
Any one of our clients could be like, really sorry, Jess, money's cut off. We've got nothing. We've got, there's no sustainability or security anywhere in our world.
And that's like one of the sort of burdens that you carry as a business owner, is that risk all lies at your feet. So as you employ more people and you say become responsible for their mortgages and making sure that they've got secure jobs, is you're doing all of that on a handshake and a nod and a will and a prayer that everything that you've put in place is going to come into fruition. And I think that will resonate with so many people listening around that risk and uncertainty and sometimes panic that can keep you up at night wondering like what's next. Do you agree?
Definitely. I definitely stay awake a lot at night worrying about it. But do you know what? There's the other side of this as well. I've come across some people that haven't given their all or been very nice. And I also had to learn how to let go of people that were bad for the company, or, not necessarily, they weren't bad people. They were wonderful people. And it was always rooted in friendship. But I definitely learned a few things along the way about actually it has to be what's good for the business before what's good for me personally, my friendships and stuff like that. And that's where it gets really tough.
Yeah.
But I think I'm tougher for it. And if you said to me, Jess, you're going to have to let one of your guys go, as hard as that is, I think I'm probably more able to do that in a business sense than I ever have been before. And that's a painful leap or a painful realization, to be honest, but needs must.
And I think challenges just evolve, don't they? So you think that you've got through one hurdle and one thing that you're like, okay, I've dealt with that. We've got a clean run now. And then before you know it, there's another thing, another lesson to learn.
say this, what was really interesting, perhaps the biggest lesson this year was I owed some people some money because I didn't budget too good on a project. And it's all sorted out thanks to a bit of advice from you guys. But then someone owed me some money. And I don't think I was a very nice person to them because I was like, guys, where's my money? I've done the work. Like, this is unacceptable. And I was really rude because being on the other side of the stick where I was telling someone that I couldn't pay them and that they'd have to wait and that I was willing to pay it, obviously trying really hard to get to that point where I'd paid it. And I just thought, oh my God, I've been on both sides of the stick in the space of a month or 2 months. And I was like, oh.
And they're both awful.
Yeah. It was just, I just really thought there's a good way of doing business and it's right down the middle of those two spaces. And anything you do in life, just be kind and you'll get through most of it. So all of those challenges that I think we do have coming up, we will, because we're a business and you will, everybody will. I know that however hard it gets, I'm only ever trying to be the best person I can be. And that's what drives me, in terms of it'll be all right.
Yeah.
I'm only trying to do the right thing.
Approaching situations with transparency and kindness and fairness. Yeah. I think even if you don't get them completely right, people will understand. 100%. And you can come back from whatever sort of place you are because you've been the best person that you can.
Yeah.
No, I completely
And we all make mistakes. Oh my God, I've made so many.
Whole other podcast. Yeah. Here's Laura and Jess's mistakes over the last decade.
Should we do a shot of tequila every time that we name a mistake?
That would be that would be fun listening.
That would be amazing.
Well, it's very clear how passionate you are about your work and being driven for that. What do you do to relax? So when the clock maybe does switch off or that laptop closes or you find yourself a little nugget of spare time, what do you like to do?
Gardening. I like growing things.
I know, wasn't expecting that.
I know. Sorry, it doesn't go with my reputation. I love growing carrots and strawberries and tomatoes. I do love a bit of gardening. I've actually got a four-bed veg patch.
Have you?
Yeah, and a greenhouse that Ben built for me.
You need to see some more of that on Instagram.
As if time. But I also went for a surf the other day and I used to surf really badly. They say that the best surfer is the one having the most fun. So I'm definitely a really good surfer if that's the case, but I'm a terrible surfer if you're surfing with me because I've got absolutely no awareness of anyone else around me. What else do I do? I love my Lily, my little 12-year-old, nearly 13-year-old, nearly 21-year-old. Whatever she is in this world is just an endless curiosity and fascination to me. I'm like, what are you going to come out with next? What drama have you got to deal with? What is the challenge that is your meltdown? Why are you having a meltdown? That's probably my next biggest challenge is her teenage years. But yeah, it's already tricky.
I know we've had conversations about this because my daughter, who's similar age, and when we were their age, which doesn't feel like it was that long ago, but what really was, we didn't have social media. Our parents probably worked in more traditional roles in terms of like mum was more around the house, dad's not, all those sorts of things. And now it's trying to parent female, young women
young empowered women.
Yeah, who you want to absolutely go for whatever role they want to, and you want them to be strong and resilient. But oh my God, that's tough. Like tough trying to parent a mini you is.
Oh my gosh, isn't it? Also humility. So it's taken me, I'm older than you, 40 years to learn the things about humility and not flying off the handle or just try. I get PMT. I get rage. We all get rage. Like it's a thing. But I don't let that rage show as much now, or I'm able to bite my tongue more now. Mm-hmm. Lil can't do those things and I see her do it and there's no regulation at all. And I'm just like, oh my God, when she's unregulated and I've got PMT, I just know that there's fireworks and I can see it already. I can predict it. And she's 12. They have so much more to deal with so young and they're not prepared for that. And I guess it's our job to try and, whilst coaching ourselves through our own dramas, trying to be there for them. But you know what? The best thing about this is I'd rather be the woman I am now, showing her how to be this incredible business person with my own vision, because nothing's going to stop her because nothing stopped me.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter what grade she gets or, what society's version of success is, because I don't think we know what that looks like for young people at the moment, because it's all changing too fast. You can't future-proof for them. I think if she's got social skills, a little bit of sass and reasoning and regulation, then she'll go far. But that's what we have to teach, not chemistry. She's quite good at that, though. Terrible at sports.
Same.
Sorry, Lil.
And I think, going back to what you're saying, about what success will look like in their lifetime, I think there's a statistic flying around sort of quite publicly at the minute that 75% of roles that primary school children will hold don't even exist yet. Due to tech, digital transformation, and AI, effectively, that's going to come as a big tsunami to every sector, I think, in some way. How do you parent and navigate through roles that don't even exist? How are teachers teaching them for things that don't exist?
Well, this is the thing. I don't think we have to worry about the kids. I think we've got to worry
about us,
the teachers, or we support the ecosystem that's trying to support their kids. Yeah, because this lot, I mean, they're already living it. Lil's already asking me how to use chatters, or what I call chatters. bear with ChatGPT. So I can do that for Lil. She's lucky because I work in tech. Yeah. But I do think that when I started working at the Eden Project, when I dropped out of college and I got a job as a waitress, I've always claimed, so Eden's my heartland, because that's where I was taught that I could be anything I wanted to be, even if I was just, inverted commas, a waitress, And if you start your career somewhere that is completely impossible to build, or you can't even imagine that it was ever going to exist, because back then you couldn't, then nothing is impossible going forward. And these kids are living in a world where everything's impossible. ChatGPT shouldn't exist, but it does. Yeah. Planes shouldn't fly, but they do. Oh my God, I hate flying. We send rockets to space. We send people to space regularly. We look at the Earth in so many different ways using satellite technology. All these incredible things, medicine, bioscience, all these things that are happening. They live in an impossible world. They don't necessarily need to know what those jobs are. They just need to be able to imagine the possibilities of what those jobs can achieve. And that's what we need to teach them, is imagination. And that nothing's changed.
No.
That's
a very good point.
It. Humans always had opportunity. It's just how you visualize the use of it. That's all they got to do.
Yeah, no, completely agree. So in terms of, if you were talking out to a business owner that might be listening now, thinking about how to measure their own success or how to find that force to be able to drive themselves forward, what would be the tips or advice or do nots that you would want to pass over to them?
Oh, it's so tricky, isn't it? Because it's hard to advise people that, well, it depends on the type of business person you are, really, because you can either be like, oh, I want to go. There's two Jesses, actually, because I built and sold a company before I built Halo. And that Jess wanted a business, wanted the kudos, wanted to work for myself. And this was part-time, by the way, when I was working full-time for other people. I got bored, maternity leave, built a business, as you do. Love saying that. That Jess wanted a business to make money. This Jess wants a business to have freedom. Yeah. And to be able to, not that I would ever wake up at 9 o'clock in the morning, to have the choice to do so if I wanted. And there's a big difference. I'm not as driven by money. I need it to do good things and do what I want to do, but it's not like about stockpiling millions. And actually, I think that's a values-driven thing that I think is changing in the world.
Oh, absolutely.
Who wants to be like the miserable billionaires, actually, when the health of the planet or what it looks like and feels like and the experiences we have seems so much more important. Obviously, money does help with some of that.
We talk a lot about freedom, like in our conversations in work and outside of work, and maybe that's what we should have given you for your F. But it is about that. And financial freedom for us is with our clients is saying, what is it you want to achieve? What do you want to have at the end of the month, or what do you want to strive to be able to do? And then build your business around those goals, because it's really easy to say, well, let's forecast and just add 10% onto what you did last year. Let's add 10% onto what you did last year. But if there's nothing that you're doing that for, if there's no reason for pushing yourself an extra 10% or taking on that extra person. So it is a lot about aligning those values and those freedoms that you want to have, whether that is the freedom to be able to decide you don't want to work because it's sunny outside. I mean, yesterday, like hottest day of the year, sat in here thinking, oh, I just want to be out there in the sun. So having those freedoms, or if it's financial freedoms to be able to go to stay in a really lovely hotel for a weekend with your family and do those things. I think it's being able to identify those is a big part.
You're the first accountant that I've ever met that said, how much do you need, Jess? And it actually made me question what I needed to have a nice life. Because actually, Ben and I got a great life, but we could have equally as good a life without spending as much money because we've got each other. We're very lucky, you know, we're very grateful for our time together. And as we get older, material things mean less. I'd love a new car. And I know that you guys could probably make it happen so that I could get this really snazzy new car. And I look at my crappy little car and go, it gets me from A to B economically and really well. I actually don't need a new car. What else could I spend the money on? Or do I need to spend that money at all?
Yeah.
You know, so you're the first guys that have done that. And it's really interesting that even now I question like, oh, do I want to take some more money out of the business or should I actually pay myself a little bit less? And should the business thrive a little bit more? Because essentially the thriving business is what gives me the freedom, not the money.
Yeah.
Which is mad, isn't it? When you go around and think about it like that.
When you start to think that the business is just an extension of you, it's just an extension of what you're doing. So you can either take physical, tangible money, or you can maybe look at some of the intangible values you can get from your business around time and freedom and less pressure and things. So
that's where
there's a good mix.
What I would advise.
Yeah.
Is
we've come to it.
We have. I was trying to work it out. What would I advise is that. So what kind of, are you the Jess with the camper company that just wants to make money? I never did make money out of that business, but I thought I wanted to. Or are you the Jess that would like a business that gives you that freedom? And there you go. I'd say, what do you really want out of your business before you build it?
Yeah. And I always try to say that there's two types of business owner and you can flip between the two. So you've got your lifestylers. So they're the ones that are doing it to be able to have that time, to be able to work when they want, where they want, and have the flexibility and freedom. Then you've got your life changers. They're the ones that are head down, they're not looking up, they're putting every single last bit of time, money, energy, blood, sweat and tears, the lot into their business because they recognize that doing that for X amount of years or months is going to allow them the other side much greater freedoms. So and you can flip between the two, but most people do start their business being in one camp and they don't often flip. So and I've yet to find a business owner that we've not managed to understand what side of that line they're sitting. And therefore, it's really so much easier to advise them and work with them and give them useful information about their business because you understand what their drivers are.
Yeah. But that's the thing, that's human business, isn't it? We're all humans at the end of the day. People talk about B2B and B2C all the time. And obviously I work in marketing, so I'm just like, oh, you know, it's a lingo that people use. And I'm just like, that is bull crap. What I mean by that is that people say B2B and B2C all the time, business to business or business to consumer. And it's always business to human. You know, even when you're doing social media, you're doing an X, what do you call it? It's not a tweet anymore. You're doing an X, you're doing a LinkedIn post. LinkedIn's totally having its day at the moment.
It is.
By the way, if you're
big
not on
LinkedIn fan.
Me too, 100%. You've got to literally, like, at the end of the day, it's either a social media person that's going to read your comment that you've tagged someone in, or it's the person themselves. It's a human.
Yeah.
Businesses, other than chatters, when they start scanning social media posts and doing it automatically in response, which will probably be terrible, by the way, for a long time. That's what people need to... So we're saying
B to H. Or B to R for beta robot, if it is. GPT, maybe.
Oh, we've just invented
some new lingo. Heard it here first.
Wild.
So, future plans for Halo?
Well, America domination, world domination. We're going to get... It's just about... Weirdly, as I've grown up, the future plans for Halo are to build the processes that make us easier to work with for anyone. We lost a contract the other day to an American company because we were not seen as an American company. So I was like, all right, let's do America. So that was it's a process thing, which is really interesting because the Jess of 5 years ago or 4 years ago would have just been offended
and walked away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Instead, I'm like, okay, well, that can't happen again. Also, because I really, really wanted that contract and I'm not used to not winning them. So I was it's purposeful rage.
Focusing it and utilising it into something
Yeah.
productive. Okay,
Yeah.
I like that. I like
That's
that.
new slang.
Emotions.
Purposeful rage.
Yeah.
Bring it on. Oh, I knew it. So when I'm heading for menopause, right? I can feel it. It's like a shadow trailing me around. I can see it over my shoulder. And I'm like, right, I don't want to be like every other menopausal woman that I've heard out there that talks about how rubbish it is. I want to look at menopause and go, this happens to women. How can I make it productive and useful? And there's loads of great things that are going to come out of it. I'm going to be an even better business person at the end of it. But at the moment, I'm just like, right, what can I inject myself with? What patches can I find that are going to regulate my hormones? Like, how do I use this time in my life to be a better person or a better business person? And I'm not figured it out yet, but maybe I'll podcast that.
Yeah, you should.
Positive menopause person.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And it just sounds like you're not even scratch the surface on what you want to achieve. You're not even anywhere near finished as yet. And that's lush to see, like business owner to business owner, to see somebody that is still so driven and excited, even though, as we addressed at the start, you could say you've got there, you're successful and you're not having to work as hard, but that fire isn't out yet.
No, and you know what, Laura? Like, I'm so inspired by you. It is unreal. You're what, a decade younger than me?
No, like 3 years.
No.
Yeah.
Well, all right. I thought you were younger. But anyway, the way you and Rox have stormed Cornwall, like we met on a pod. We met at a ladies' lunch.
We did.
Down at Penventon,
talking
of all places.
On a recording about females in business.
Yeah.
10 years ago.
That is wild.
And now here we are, a decade later, talking about females in business.
Yeah, still banging that drum, to be honest, because it needs to be
louder,
banged.
I think, now.
Oh my gosh. I'm so tired, Laura, of pointing out all male photos, because it is really not difficult to change that. Really not difficult. But anyway, I could carry on ranting.
And I'm sure we will. I have no doubt that we've still got a lot more to say as well about what we're doing in business and working together. So, but for today, that's Jess Ratty of Halo PR and Communications, and her F word, force, female empowerment and freedom, we've come to see.
Woohoo! Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks.
You're amazing.